Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon and good evening, depending on where you are. I'm very excited to be hosting this webinar for our MIM program, to talk about MIM program, and especially to talk to our alumni of the MIM program. I'm going to introduce us. First, my name is Michaela Vikramasinghe. I'm the Recruitment and Training Officer at the Faculty of Graduate Studies. And on the panel, I have an alumni from the first MIM cohort, Shelly Plett. Welcome, Shelly. So great to have you here. Shelly is the Senior Vice President of Contract Strategy. She's responsible for contract negotiation, execution, and client life cycle management within InTouch CX. Shelly works closely with new clients to understand current and future objectives. In addition, she collaborates with legal and CX teams to transform existing clients into long-term partners.
Thanks for having me, Michaela.
You're very welcome. I'm not done yet. There's a little bit more to yours. Shelly joined InTouch CX in 2014 and has held a number of roles in sales and marketing. She has a Bachelor of Business Administration and Master in Management in Innovation and Operations and Technology from the University of Winnipeg. And our second panelist is Aaron Van Dam. Aaron has spent over 15 years in multiple different roles in service and part industries. The roles have been based in management, procurement, customer service, B2B and B2C sales, operations, distribution, and warehousing, a lot, by building strong teams and processes. He has been able to grow sales and create operational efficiencies across multiple locations. Welcome, Aaron.
Thank you so much.
Our third panelist is Patrick Velenzuela. He may be on the way. He may be a little bit late, so I will introduce him when he arrives. And I'm also excited to introduce you to the program chair of the MIM, Dr. Enyan Sunday Taiwar. I'm wondering if you could maybe introduce yourself and also provide a program overview for everyone.
Thank you, Michaela, and thank you everyone for joining this webinar today. I'm so excited to share about this program. I'm introducing the program, and all through the webinar, you get to learn more about the program through your questions and answers from experienced alumni and myself and other colleagues here. My name is Enyan Sunday Taiwo. I am the current program chair for MIM, and I am an assistant professor with the Department of Business and Administration. I've been around for quite a while, say 2021. Some of us are COVID employees, and it was a nice time to be here. So just to give you a brief background into our program, the Master in Management program was first introduced as a part-time program and was focused on helping the local industries upskill themselves. And we started by introducing the technology, innovation, and operation, which is known as TIO stream in 2017. And we had good success with that that TIO stream. And building on that, we developed a new stream called the data analytics stream. And we started that cohort, the first cohort in 2023. Currently, both streams consist of 10 classes you have to complete, which can be completed either full-time in 1 year or part-time over the course of 2 years. Classes are offered asynchronously online format or in the evenings because we understand that most of our students are working, and we want to make it flexible for them to access instructions and still enjoy quality education. All our classes have 20 or less students per cohort to ensure meaningful interactions, personalized support, and close-knit learning environment. In addition to classroom education, we offer students the opportunity to connect with potential employees, employers through networking events, career fairs, industry tours, and special engagements. We welcome domestic and international students from any part of the world and from any profession as well. And that is one of the strengths of our program, the diversity that we bring to our classroom, diversity of experience, diversity of culture. This is very, very important for our students to integrate into Canadian system and also contribute, given the rich background that they are bringing on board as well. Today, you will have the chance to hear directly from three of our graduates and how the program has shaped their careers. Um, Along the way, if you have some questions, I know we have some facts. The fact sheets are on the website, but if you still have some specific questions related to the admission, I'm happy to help. Michaela can also help, and we have Lilith here to answer some of those questions related to admission, registration. But do you have any question related to experience? Um, we don't want to oversell ourselves. We allow those who have experienced it to tell you the real experience. So our graduates will help with that, answer your questions related to experience they had in the program. With that, I hand over to Michaela. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunday, for that. It's great. And you already introduced Lilith, our colleague Lilith Barr. So just to let you know that Lilith is the MIM manager, and you may have contacted her already to ask questions, but she's a support system within the program, so I wanted to introduce her as well. I will jump into questions, and my first question is, actually before that, I wanted to let you know that this is recorded. We had more students registered. It's a little bit early Monday webinar, so I can understand. And the recording will be shared with anyone who's registered, as well as all of you who are in attendance. So the question for you, Shelly, is that as someone who is in the first MIM cohort, what initially attracted you to the program and how has it shaped your professional life?
Thanks, Michaela. I graduated from the University of Winnipeg and started my career here in Winnipeg immediately after my undergrad. And I knew that I wanted to go back and do a master's, probably an MBA, something in that area. And at the time when I graduated, the University of Winnipeg didn't have a great fit option. But after 3-4 years of working, getting a bit of experience under my belt, I started looking at programs. And I looked at other schools and in the process realized that this was coming up and being offered. And it was really perfect timing for me and perfect timing, I think, in terms of subject matter as well. I was very interested in innovation during my undergrad, and there wasn't a lot that was already in the course load. So when it came up as a master's topic, I was very interested. And I also loved the idea of being part of cohort one, that we could co-create some of the program together and maybe shape what industry needed in terms of some of the outcome for graduates. So for me, it was like being part of innovation while studying innovation. And I thought that was very cool. And it really gave me a springboard to grow from in terms of my own career. I'm still with the same company I was at when I started my master's degree. And I think that's very telling as well, that I was able to grow and expand my area of influence at my current employment site. And I've been able to grow into different departments and to take on more responsibility over time. I had a lot of confidence coming out of the program. I could present myself well. And in particular, I think the program helped me to look at more facets of the business and a particularly international business, and the way the world is working together is very different than it used to be. And that confidence has led to my own career growth here at InTouch, which has been very cool.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I will have more questions coming up, but in the meantime, I want to ask any one who's joining us, any attendees, if you have questions, add it to the Q&A, and I will present them to our panelists. So this second question is to you, Erin. Erin, you currently work for a company specializing in heating and cooling solutions. What aspects of the program do you use in your everyday work?
Thanks. Yeah, one of the biggest things that I use every day is just the innovation of processes. So, my role is I'm the operations manager overseeing manufacturing and service shops across Winnipeg or Manitoba and Saskatchewan. So, a lot of what we do, as much as we can make a better product and continually making better products to ensure our productivity and our efficiencies, we've got to look at our processes. And minor savings in processes add up immensely over time. So, one of the big things is just looking at innovation outside of just innovating to making new products, but looking at daily things that we do and just making those better so that we're better at doing our job. Another thing that I really found from the program was I managed a large staff over multiple different locations and just tactics to work with a staff, build culture, manage performance. A lot of those skill sets came from working through the MIM and learning through some of the programs there.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Um, so I'll move on to the next question. This is for both of you. And oh, I see Patrick's joining us. Hi, Patrick. Welcome.
Hi, I'm sorry. My previous meeting was running late, so I was only able to join now.
No worries. There's going to be a question coming up right away, so you can answer, and then I'm going to introduce you right after. But
Okay.
maybe I will just let you settle a little bit, and I will ask the question. I can repeat if need be, but this is for all of you. So I'll start with Shelly, and then Aaron, and then Patrick. So the question is, all three of you had established careers when you applied to the program. Why did you decide to go back to university, and what made you choose the University of Winnipeg for your master's degree? Shelly?
I knew that I was going to have some fierce competition in business in particular, and I wanted to differentiate myself by having a master's degree in particular. And the idea of having something new and novel was also very compelling to me. So the idea of doing a master's degree that wasn't just an MBA was a really compelling selling point for the University of Winnipeg program. And I was excited to be able to go to school in the same town where I was living and working. And for me, the downtown location was very convenient. That's where my job is. And so to pop into the university for me was really convenient and really nice. I know, Erin, you had a bit of a different experience that you couldn't just pop into the school. But for me, the local aspect of it was very cool.
Great. Thank you. Aaron, I would ask you the same question. So why did you decide to go back to or choose the University of Winnipeg program while you already had an established career?
Well, first off, I was part of the COVID cohort, so I started in 2021. And with COVID and living alone, I had some extra time that I couldn't leave the house, and decided to apply for decided that there was no better way to use my time than improve myself. So I decided to sign up for the program. I really wanted to advance in my career and advance in my role and find a way to better myself. Just like Shelly, I had looked at a few different programs, and I also got my BBA from the University of Winnipeg. And I found that, especially younger in my career, when I had my BBA, I was going up against a lot of different people that are applying for jobs with companies that already had multiple commerce grads, and having a different viewpoint from having a BBA really helped me get into my role. So I figured that not only with the program being based in innovation, technology and operations management, compared to some of the other well-established MBAs, I had an opening for myself, and also a program based around a lot of the things that I already do with an operations-based role, that I found it was very, very helpful for me to come here.
Thank you. So Patrick, before I ask you that question, I would like to introduce you as one of the most recent graduate from the MIM this year, actually, 2025, from the data analytics stream as well. So Patrick is a Philippines licensed chemical engineer who earned his Bachelor of Science degree in chemical engineering at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. Previously, he has worked in quality assurance, regulatory, and sustainability lead roles for companies in the environmental services, food and beverage, manufacturing, and renewable energy sectors. More recently, he has contributed to research projects with the University of Winnipeg Faculty of Business and Economics and Faculty of Education as a senior research assistant, and is currently set to pursue a career in aviation and aerospace industry. So really happy to have you here as well.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I will ask you the same question, and I know on top of continuing with a master's while you had a career, you also made a move to move from the Philippines to here. So if you can, give us a little bit of information to why, what made you pursue this.
Yeah, so basically, because I was already working for almost a decade in the Philippines, and my role was mostly focused on field work and more on front-facing stakeholders in terms of like data collection for our environmental management system. And so I thought for me to be able to drive my professional growth, and I saw this gap for myself where I was already in middle management, but I wasn't really seeing how senior management was able to make those big business decisions when it comes to the strategies that they wanted to implement for the company. And so, with that objective of me growing my career and having that filling in that gap, I wanted to find a program that would help me do those things. And so, I decided that staying in the country, finding education in the country is not enough because I wanted education that would be like internationally recognized, and it was more of like a personal decision as well, circumstances, I mean, in the sense that I had family here in Winnipeg, and so they invited me and they told me, "Oh, we have great education programs here in Canada, and we're going to support you if you ever decide to take your master's here." So and then when I was looking up the different programs, I saw U of W. And since, again, my profession was focused on mainly a lot of information when it came to our EHS systems. And so when I saw data analytics as a master's in management program in the U of W, I really thought that this would be the one for me. And maybe another factor would be like U of W having a straight admission process that made it easier for me to transition from like as an international student. It was easier for be able to find what I needed to finish my program. Yeah.
Thank you, Patrick. There's a little bit of a sound like there's a little bit of interruptions. I think it may be the internet. I'm not sure if it's for everyone or just for me. Um, so hopefully things will improve as we move on. So before moving on to other questions, I have a sort of a follow-up question from you, Patrick. So data analytics stream is one of the new stream to MIM. It was the TIO, or Technology Innovation and Operations, that both Aaron and Shelly had graduated from. So you graduated from the second data analytics cohort. Could you tell us a little bit about your experience and learning within the data analytics program and how it factors into your new role at Boeing?
Yeah, for sure. So is my audio better? I'm not quite sure. It's
Yeah,
probably
it's a
because of
little
my
bit
internet
better.
connection. Yeah. Yeah, so when it came to data analytics and like it was really an exciting program for me because going back to school again after years in the industry, and like being to what from based on my experience, having those like new tools, technological and digital tools that help me be able to make sense of all of the information that I have, not just in my industry, but in different industries. But and to be able to not just have those tools and make sense of the information, but to be able to communicate that information to whoever I'm speaking to, whether it's senior management or it's our local stakeholders. So I think that's one of the key learnings that I got from the program. And so just to give an overview of what I've learned in data analytics, so there's the core of the descriptive, predictive and prescriptive analytics. And so having all of that information and to be able to first understand what those information mean at the surface level, and then be able to use that information to create reasonable models, and to have that models predict future outcomes, and to be able to use those insights to develop actionable business strategies that will help the organization. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that very in detail explanation. I am going to move on to some of the questions that actually came from one of the participants. I'm not sure if this question will be for one of you alumni. I'm thinking it would be more so for the program chair. So this question came from a currently working HR person who is thinking of going into MIM. So they're asking, as someone with a strong HR generalist consultant background, but limited technical data analysis experience, how does the MIM program support students in becoming comfortable in data-driven approaches?
Thank you for the question, and I think it's the same question in the chat room. Um, so that's from Deepti. Thank you for the question. I just want to assure you, like, beyond my role as the chair, I'm also one of the instructors in the data analytics stream. So I can tell you a lot that we have been doing to help students feel comfortable with our data analytics class. When we first started out, there were kind of a lot of experimentation to see what is suitable for our students. And the second cohort, we try to pivot and create more resources for our students. One of the things that we did differently and which we'll continue to sustain is to add lab sessions to our courses. the data analytics courses. So you're going to have a tutorial assistant. So you attend the regular lecture, and then you have the lab session on the separate day where you can interact with the tutorial assistant, and you can have enough time to cover the gaps that you might be missing in the classroom. I think with this particular approach, it makes the students feel more comfortable, and they're able to learn and get help at the right time. And that, I believe, would be good for someone with less technical background and experience. So I believe Patrick can also share experience of how that particular aspect of the instructional resources are probably had helped during his time.
For sure, Professor. So, during my time with my cohort, we were people of different backgrounds from different industries. So, not everyone has what shall we say, a strong technical background when it comes to the programming and digital technologies. But what I can assure from my experience is that the program does equip you and like make sure that every learner based on um their own professional experience can adapt to whatever technology that it is available for us to learn. And it's more so also not just making the technicals work, but also like what I've learned since it is a master's in management program, is that there are also complementary courses that build on our sense of leadership and on the different innovation techniques that we could use when it comes to going back into the industry. And so I think that balance between your business and your the data analytics side of things kind of makes it easier regardless of whatever industry you're coming from.
Thank you, Patrick, and Sunday. There's two other, I'm not sure if you addressed that. The question also asked what's the um, differentiation or how the data analytics stream is different from the other shorter courses. And then the graduate success is the third part of that question. So if you could touch on that a little bit, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. I think Patrick answered the second question partly, so I will just build on that. So one of the ways that the MIM data analytics is different from the regular short courses is the focus on business decision making. Okay, so we focus on business decision making, and it's not just for you to learn the technical, which is common in the short courses. You learn the technical, but you really don't simulate what you learn in terms of providing business insights and looking at different business backgrounds. So that is one of the key reasons that MIM is different from the short courses. And like Patrick mentioned, there are other complementary courses that you get to learn that will help in both leadership and business management. So it's not just learning the technical core data analytics, but also strategy, leadership, and all innovation, project management, and other courses like that alongside. And one more thing we also emphasize here is um, the diversity of background that come into the classroom. Okay, so at the end of the day, you are going to complete projects in most of our courses. Every course you have group projects, and you're supposed to like come up with a problem. So you have HR background. There are tons of applications that you can come up with, like problems that you can solve that are related to HR, and you can team up with someone who has the engineering background and leverage their own skills to come up with a very good results. So this helps not just, if you go for a shorter course, you're on your own. But here, the diversity that we bring provide leverage that you can use to your own advantage. So those are some of the things that I can quickly mention. Talking about the graduate sources, yes, we have people. I mean, some of these people here have moved from, they have transitioned to various level of leadership. I'm talking about the graduates here, and they can also help answer the question how the program has helped them to transition to leadership or management roles, or help them to take a higher responsibility. So we've had people moved from our program and transitioned to higher leadership roles. And also we've had people who finished from our program and went ahead to complete a doctorate in business administration. So these are all possible pathways, and we keep in touch with our alumni as well. So that is something, a culture that is really important to us. Um, I hope that I am able to address those questions.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And you're absolutely right. We have three wonderful alumni here who can provide a great testimony. And also the fact that they are still connected to the program, still connected to the university, is definitely says something about the connections they made and the value they obtained. So thank you, Sunday. I will. I had a question came up because I do also get questions from prospective students from the recruitment side. Um, and you all talk about the project-based nature of the program. So could you share your experience working in the projects within your program? And also, most importantly, what was the networking, the network you built within the program? Are you still in touch? And how does that help in your careers? I'll start with Shelly.
Well, first of all, group projects are probably the most important part of this course. And Sunday, as you were talking about, the difference between doing sort of standalone courses to build technical skills versus coming in and doing a master's in management, to me, the word that jumps out is context. That these are skills that are taught in context. And in particular, we're going to work in real life with very diverse groups of people solving very diverse problems. And the group projects are a very close mirroring of that. Within my cohort, I don't think any of us had similar backgrounds. We had individuals from the healthcare stream and individuals from manufacturing, and I was coming from international business process outsourcing. So, like, very different perspectives that came together and had to collaborate to solve problems. So I think that it's a very valuable part of the program. I think it's uniquely challenging to do that in a virtual distributed manner, but it's also reflective of the way we do business now. So the online components for the sort of at-home study modules will require you to do virtual group work, and using technology and a lot of the different online tools today to be successful with that is going to be an important skill for your own career. So I think it's important to learn all of that. I am still in contact with a number of my cohort. I don't know that I would say I use those connections very frequently, but it's nice to make contact with them periodically and check in with where they are in their careers now.
Wonderful. Thank you, Shelly. Aaron?
Yeah, just to build a little bit on what Shelly said, I think group work is probably the easiest and most difficult part of the entire course, depending on just timelines and deadlines and who you're paired with sometimes, and the different strengths and what you have. So I know at one group project I was paired with a guy who was working remotely from Pakistan, and just the time difference and everything just put a challenge, but is really the new reality of the world that we're working in a global marketplace where I have suppliers that are in India and China that I work with on a weekly basis, and just getting used to communicating in a different way and using different language tools and being able to understand different cultures and how those cultures impact business just really benefited me. I am still in contact with some of my cohort. Um, Similar to Shelley's experience, I had a university prof, I had a teacher, I had healthcare, I had hydro employees. I had a great mix in mine, and not everyone had the same experience, and not everyone we all came from different age groups as well. That we had some people that were, I don't want to say fresh out of university, but newly in their career, and some of us that were a little bit longer in the tooth in our career. So just experience levels really helped us work and look at things differently and come to a different outcome on our projects.
It's great to hear about the diversity and how it enriched your experience. So thank you. Patrick, I've seen you with your classmates in a number of events, and I know you guys are still very much in touch, especially being graduated so soon. So please share your experiences with group work and working collaboratively, and your friendships with your cohort.
Yeah, so I guess because relatively we're a bigger cohort than previous DA cohorts. Um, and so what I did like was having that community of support where not only from people who are like locally who grew up here in Winnipeg, but also like from other international students who are also part of the program. And that made like it easier to have, if I may say so, like a sense of family. When it came to having tackling all of those group work. And it's like we also built those relationships where that transcended beyond the classroom, and like we would join these different competitions together and have like personal potlucks together, just to make everything easier, especially when you're transitioning as an international student. That and like I guess the program does have in its core the group work that really makes you ready for when you come back or when you're in industry, and in such a way that not everything's going to be perfect. You'll have some clashes here and there, and but then at the end of the day, you work as a team and you make it work to like build the project and meet the requirements. Yeah, for sure.
Wonderful. I have a follow-up question for you, especially since you came here as an international student, and as any graduate programs at the University of Winnipeg, we welcome international students to MIM program as well. So could you tell a little bit about the good, not so good, and challenging situations that you have faced and overcome, and any tips that you can provide to international students joining UW?
For sure. So when it came to like my experience as an international student, I guess what I could really say is that it's not going to be easy, especially like I've seen my friends from the cohort. Like for me, I guess it's sort of easier because I don't have like direct family. I don't have dependents when I came here, but I saw some of them who brought their families with them and their kids, and it's to balance having to provide for your family at the same time finishing the program. But I guess that's also what we kind of liked about the program is that made it easier because of the flexibility of the online courses and the evening classes. Also, uh, my tip would be, I guess, you could always don't be shy about asking for help because you will always find it, especially I feel like the university, the faculty of the graduate studies and the faculty of business I really have all of these wonderful people who are supportive. There are the professors and the dean's office all would like everyone to succeed. And so even though it was challenging to settle and make sure that everything was right before you start your coursework, you will always find people who are willing and ready to help.
Thank you. That's actually a great advice, and I can't stress that enough. If you have a question, if you need help, to ask, because there are a lot of people around on campus to help or direct you to the proper channels. I'm going to move away from some of the questions that we have gathered and look at the question and answer questions here. There's a question from Flavio about the working experience. And education includes working as a financial analyst and an international development context in an international development context. So they're basically asking, in the opinion of the panelist, which one of the two streams will be better for someone wanting to enroll in MIM program and combine financial and project management in future job-related endeavors. It's a big question, so I don't know who want to go first.
I'll jump in. Flavio, I think I was part of cohort 1 for the TIO side of the master's program, and I do think that that would be a good option. I'm not going to say, Patrick, that your stream was a bad option, but for my sake, the financial, like strategic accounting courses were absolutely critical, especially to the final capstone project and really putting together all of the different elements that we worked on during the program in order to be able to present like a financial analysis and to be able to make some strategic recommendations and decisions about business. And project management, I think, is inherent no matter which side of the house you take. There's some specific practices around innovation management and building a culture of innovation and creativity that are very obvious in the TIO stream, but I'm sure, Patrick, that you will have experienced a lot of those project management courses as well.
Yeah, for sure. Like what Shelly said, there's also even in the DA stream, there is that aspect of project management, and I guess it's more of like when you're choosing between the two streams, it's more of what you want to focus on. Like specifically, if you want to go deeper into the analytics side of finance and doing those financial models using the digital tools, then probably DA would be one of the good options. But again, either TIO or DA, I think would offer you different opportunities.
Great. I think that's really great. Thank you to both to give both perspectives. And if anyone else want to jump in, please go ahead. If not, I'll move on to the other question from Flavio as well. It's a good question. For the online sessions, what is the daily average time required for every session? I believe this includes both study and being on the lecture.
Yeah, for me, it really depended on the week and the course you were doing. Throughout our program, it wasn't like we had a specific day that we were working on or a specific time, because with the program and with the structure of the program, it's, I don't want to say completely self-directed, but you're getting week by week assignments and week by week updates on what you have to do. And if through our cohort, we found that Wednesday worked the best for a lot of us. So we would have a 1 hour recap where a few of us would have a Zoom meeting on Wednesdays and just chat about the week and chat about what we were working on and chat about how we would progress forward and how the assignment related to us. So I found that pretty much most weeks I was doing anywhere from 12 to 30 hours a week, depending on reading and studying and meeting with the cohort. And yes, there were some weeks that were outside, but the average was probably between that 12 and 30, depending on what was going. And that was the part-time stream. So
Thank you, Aaron. Um, Shelly or Patrick or Sunday, do you have anything to add?
I had to try and remember. It's been a little bit of time, so some of that is probably forgotten for better. It's a lot of work, but I wouldn't say that I was unable to work full time and do my master's degree, which I think is an important consideration when thinking about the part-time. I would get up an hour early and I'd study in the morning for an hour. I remember sitting in my porch, and reading studies, like reading research papers for one of our innovation courses. And I'd spend the morning reading. I'd go to my job and I would work a full day and I'd come home, make dinner, and then I'd study for an hour or two in the evening. And that was very normal. And then you'd have a few weeks of break between courses, which is also important to know that it's not like you're going to be pedal to the metal for 52 weeks out of the year. It does ebb and flow like typical course load, but you're going to do a half-time university course on top of whatever you're doing in terms of work. So it's manageable, but it is a good challenge.
Yeah,
Thank you,
just
Shelly.
to
Okay,
add to what Shelly had said. So because I did the program full time, and it doesn't, because of the way it's structured, it didn't really hinder me from pursuing other priorities. Like I was also able to do my part-time work during that time. And so it is, as they said, it really depends on what the course requirements are for that specific week. So you do have that flexibility where you can manage and do more. Yeah.
great. Thank you, Patrick. There's a question from the Q&A here. They're asking about the scholarships in MIM. So maybe I will ask that question from Sunday.
Yes, so there is one scholarship a student can apply for in spring of every year. Um, so the Graduate Studies Office manages that information. So you can go to the Graduate Studies website, check under awards and financial aid office, and you would find a list of scholarships that are for graduate students. And some of them have requirements that our students don't meet, but those are requirements regarding thesis-based research. Okay, so other than that, if you find any scholarship where they don't require the thesis-based research, you are also eligible for those kind of scholarships. So we have some scholarships, or one particularly that you can check out on the Graduate Studies website.
Thank you, Sunday. I will also add, if you do the research in the MBA MIM across Canada, the program has a good competitive price as any other professional programs, because they are usually less awards and the students are required to pay. So if you do a little bit of research across Canada, I would say the program has a competitive price at the University of Winnipeg. There's a question for all panel members from a fourth-year supply chain and operations management student in undergraduate at UW. And they are again asking which stream you would recommend.
I'll jump in this one as the operations manager. Yeah, I would lead you towards the TIO, Technology Innovation and Operations Management. It's a great program. There are courses that are specifically geared towards supply chain management and operations and innovation management in operations. It's a great program. I have some experience with the data and analytics side, just working with the students as a guest lecturer, but not specifically in a capacity where I've taken the data analytics stream. But I would recommend the TIO stream for you.
Thank you, Aaron. Anyone else?
Um, okay, go ahead, Patrick. You go.
Okay. Just from I guess from what I experienced again, uh, I guess it data analytics could still be a good choice for a supply chain when you have a supply chain and operations management background. It's because you have all of these tools. Like if you wanted to have that, if you have those what I would say like challenges in terms of supply chain optimization and having your operations improve your operational excellence, you could go at that data level where you are able to analyze your existing processes and manage that through those digital tools. Yeah.
Thank you. Sunday, did you have something to
Yeah,
add?
I wanted to say that it depends on the person should
Mm,
first think about what is the career path the person want to pursue. Okay, so if you want to stay on the management side of things, I think you might want to go to the TIO stream. But if you want to stay on the core technical part of things, behind the scene part of any operations, then you can think about data analytics.
excellent. Shelley, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, and I was going to say something very similar to what Sunday just offered. I think it's important to go and do before coming back to school. I know for a lot of people, going straight into a master's program is the plan. And I think there's value to that, but I think there's a lot of value in knowing what you do like to do and what you don't like to do in practical reality, right? Going and being part of an organization, getting your hands involved in doing supply chain management work, and suddenly you'll see that there's different streams in terms of career path that even the people you're working with are following. And that'll help you make that decision with a different lens as well. So I would encourage, whether it's doing an internship or getting a job, but spending some time in industry and seeing which paths might resonate with that practical application side rather than just the theoretical study side.
Excellent. Great answer. Thank you to all of you for that. We are coming to an end, and I'm looking at, we are at the last question from the question board. They're asking if UW offer weekend classes for MIM. Sunday or Lilith, maybe.
Currently, we do not have courses scheduled for weekends, but for those online courses, you can complete them over the weekends if that's when you have your own time. But most of the in-person courses, they happen during the weekdays and they are all in the evening time. So, um, and the course load is lighter, so we have no reason to put courses over the weekend. Sometimes in this semester, you are maybe offering two courses, a maximum of three. So you should be able to spread that over the week. And most of the courses, each course will run once a week, 3 hour period. And so um, for that, we usually don't have any reason to schedule courses for the weekend.
Thank you. I just got another question. If the MIM, if you are a domestic student, if that's eligible for Manitoba Student Aid, is that a question you would have the answer, or is that something students should contact the Manitoba Student Aid?
I don't know about the requirement for Manitoba Student Aid, But I would say that our program is just like any regular program in DLI universities across the nation. So if you can apply for Manitoba Student Aid for undergraduate program, you are well qualified to apply for Manitoba Student Aid for MIM program. But it seems you have to be in the uh, be a full-time student to apply. Yeah.
Thank you, Sunny. Um, I would also say that the University of Winnipeg Awards Office has information about the. Oh, I just got a note from Lilith uh, that it does qualify for full-time students. If you are full-time students, you can get Manitoba Student Aid and also part-time. Lilith, am I giving the right information?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it is. Some students will believe that because we have 2 classes a term, that it doesn't qualify, but it does, because we are a little bit different than other programs. So with our 2 courses, you are considered full-time, and with 1 course part-time.
Excellent. Thank you, Lilith. I'm going to take this last question. It has multiple sections, so I'm going to try my best to summarize it. Um, they ask, what does the typical day look like, especially for someone in the TIO stream? And both Aaron and Shelly, you have sort of partly answered this question before. What makes the MIM TIO unique as compared to other management programs? Also, what are the possible career paths? And what is the possibility for graduating with both degrees? I'm assuming you wanted to do both streams. So that may be something for Sunday. Yeah, so I don't know if I am clear enough, but they sort of looking for information about a day in TIO. How does it differ from other management programs offered across the country, I'm assuming, and the possible career paths.
I'll answer very briefly. I think we've talked a bit about how I would spend my day doing the TIO stream. The biggest differentiator for me was the fact that this was a practical application master's degree and not one with a research component. I specifically didn't want to do a research project. I liked the fact that the capstone was a much more practical application when it came to that sort of final push for the finish of the program. So for me, that was a big differentiator, and that's what I'd say made it stand out to me compared to other programs.
Thank you,
Yeah, my
Shelly.
experience was very similar to Shelly's, where I do an hour, I do a little bit of reading in the morning, and then throughout the evening, I do a couple hours, and the majority of my work on the weekends. So to the question about if there's weekend programs, really there was one or two evenings a week that you had to be working on this stuff with just spreading your time throughout the week. So majority of it was on the weekend, but really it teaches you a lot about time management. So figuring out where you can take a couple hours every day to just put towards the studies.
Great. Thank you, Erin. Sandy, you've already shared information about this, but if you can reiterate and about the possible career paths of the TIO stream, that would be great.
I think I would go straight and say that for MIM program generally, we encourage students to have some level of experience before coming in. The course itself is not what will, because we are in a world where your certificate means nothing. So you have to come with some core skills that can position you for opportunities. And if you're an international student, that even adds another layer to it. You come here, it doesn't matter who you are from home country, you have to first get yourself adjusted to Canadian system and learn the role, maybe do some volunteering, take, do whatever you can do to get your foot through the door. So the
Sorry, I
course,
just have to run. I don't mean to interrupt, but yeah, I
Thank
have to
you for
go.
your
So
time,
thank you for
Patrick.
having
Thank you
me
so
again.
much.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
So for the program, we provide events that will help you um, interact with employers and all those kind of things. We also provide some um, supportive seminars to help you prepare for the job market and so on. The last question was possibility of graduating with both degrees. Um, Technically, we do not have that on paper. Okay. But you can take some of the courses from both streams, but you will not be able to graduate with both degrees like it's possible a double major undergraduate. No, we don't have that. Okay. But it's possible for you to take courses from both streams. And that again is a little bit tricky because these two streams have courses that are exclusive. And so sometimes they are running simultaneously. The TIO streams, they are taking this particular course, and DA streams are taking this particular course. They are not common to both streams. And if it happens that they are being scheduled for the same time, you may not be able to take both classes. So it's really a little bit tricky. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying this, Sunday. Um, I'm just going to have one last question um, for both Aaron and Shelley. I think it's a very important question. So, as someone who went through the program, succeeded the program, you know what it takes to be a student in the MIM here. Uh, so, who would you recommend this program to?
I think this is a fantastic program for anyone who feels like they want to advance in their career, but they don't know how. And so that's a pretty broad category, but I think in particular, from my perspective, when you're in a middle management role and you just don't know how to break that ceiling, this is a good opportunity to sharpen your skills, learn how to present information in a different way, and also show you're committed to learning what it takes to be that next layer of leadership in your organization. And for me, that was a pretty successful tactic. So I think I would recommend it to anybody who feels like they're in that sort of middle layer and they don't really know what the path looks like to get out.
Excellent. Aaron?
I very much second what Shelly says. Yeah, it's a tool to advance, to show the amount of skills that you have. I've always said that one of the biggest things that a university education teaches you is time management and the ability to finish something to or follow something through to completion. So, being able to work through a master's program while still being employed and working through a day job gives you that level to prove to employers that you are employable, you can work through large projects, you do have the stick to it aspect that you will make sure to follow it through to completion. And like we've said a few times, there's many group projects and you've got to work with all different kinds of people, some of them that you want to work with and some of them that you don't. And that's just like the real world where you don't get to choose who you get partnered with on a project, and you've got to make the best of it and provide the best output for your employer or your educator.
Wonderful. That's great words of wisdom to end this webinar with. And I just wanted to say thank you very much on behalf of the Graduate Studies and the Faculty of Business and Economics for spending your time from your very busy schedules with us and sharing your insights. Thank you, Aaron and Shelley. And thank you, Sunday, for joining and sharing the information about the program and answering those difficult questions that I wouldn't have answers for. So the webinar will be recorded and shared with everyone, and hope to see you when you're in the program or at our next webinar. Have a great week, everyone. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.
Thanks
Bye.
so much.